Hi guys, welcome back. Okay, so this week we're talking about using Pinterest to define your aesthetic. And we have been talking about kind of ditching the word style and replacing it with the word aesthetic. And I've been doing that intentionally because style, when you think about it, it's a little bit limiting. It can kind of keep you in a box. And there are no hard and fast rules that say that you can't marry industrial with farmhouse or coastal with farmhouse or whatever. So kind of paying attention to what your aesthetic is and determining then if you like how it looks together, awesome. That is the goal, right? Do you like it? And is it telling your story? Which I am going to hound and I'm going to repeat, and you're going to hear that probably every week. Okay, so using Pinterest to define your aesthetic. Most of you know Pinterest. If you have been not living underneath a rock for the last several years, you know Pinterest and maybe use Pinterest. But using it and honing it to use to your benefit is what we're talking about today. So what is Pinterest first, if you have been living under a rock? Or if you just know about it and you don't, really are interested in another social media platform. So what is it? Pinterest is a tool. So if you can imagine Pinterest kind of being similar to Google, only it is a visual search engine rather than an information. You can Google things and get a list of things, whatnot. But Pinterest is a visual search engine. So think about it in overall broad terms like that. So it can be a source of inspiration. It new to the Pinterest platform in the last year is that it is now a shoppable website. Not all pins are shoppable, but you'll notice them when the price tags pop up. It is a digital idea storage unit. This is why I joined Pinterest years ago, so that I could kind of remove the files within my closet, kind of reduce that clutter, or I could keep the ideas that I wanted to do, the inspiring craft projects or whatever, in one place online. That's why I joined it. So if you think about it as a digital filing system or a modern day corkboard where you have all of your best ideas, that's another way to think about it. Okay, but now we need to ask, what is Pinterest not? And Pinterest is not a social media platform. And I did put that in an asterisk because technically by definition it is, but it's not really like Instagram and Facebook where you have followers and there's kind of that vanity metrics of like, oh, who liked my post and how many followers do I have? And I need to follow this many or whatever. It is not like that. Pinterest can actually be a very individual platform. And you could have people who are following you who you don't know. So you could keep it all private. You could put it all public. So it can be both. For me, when I first started using it, I could care less. I didn't care about followers. I didn't care about any of that. And I still don't care about that. But it is a business resource and tool for me. So I do use the analytics in order to see which of my pins are performing, which ones are not. Still honing that craft. I'm not very good at it. But it can be private, is what I'm getting at. Okay. And Pinterest is not the only place you can source ideas and inspiration. So, if you are not really into Pinterest, if you don't really want to use it as we move forward, great. You can Google search things, but chances are it's going to knock you back to Pinterest for images. Or you can use like home decor magazines, things like that. So you can interchange those. Okay, but Pinterest can be a trap. Oh, you guys, it can be, and I know we all know places where we might have even fallen into that if we have used it before, like I'm going to make this dessert and this dessert looks like this, and then you make it and it's a complete failure. Okay, it can be trapping in that way. It can be super overwhelming, especially when it comes to like home design and trying to figure out, oh, I like this, but I like this, and I like this, and I like this. That can be really, really overwhelming. It can be a huge waste of time. You go down one rabbit hole thinking you're looking for sofas, and you come out 3 hours later, looking at stemware. So it can be unmanaged. It can be a waste of time. It can trigger comparison-itis or feelings of unhappiness or like unworthiness or like I hate my space. And that is no good. If it becomes that, we need to throw it out the window or harness the power and use it really as a tool. And that's what I'm showing you today. But when you see an image and you think, oh, I really love that, their home must be perfect in their home, yada, 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 yada. Of course, we know that that can be misidentified too, but it can be triggering, and that's no fun. Okay, this next one is a good one, and the one that I most commonly see with clients. So if you misidentify your home with the image you see and you want to bring into your space, basically meaning it's not realistic. So for example, I had a client a few years ago and when I work with clients, we create a board, it's shareable board. We're working together in order to, so that I can see what their style is, what their aesthetics are. And she loved white. She loved white flooring. She loved white walls. She loved white trim. She loved white couches. She loved white everything. And it was gorgeous. It was a really pretty look. And then when I went to meet her at her home, she greeted me. And when you opened the room, her room, and it was her living room, read brown. There was brown everywhere. There was brown flooring. There was brown carpeting, a dark brown couch, dark taupe walls, brown built-ins, brown, you name it, every surface was brown, including some of the pillows that were on her couches. And so having that realistic picture of like, sure, we can get there, we can get that white look, we can get that look, but you start painting the baseboards to get them from brown to white, and that's going to lead into the next room in the house. Or you like white, but I see brown carpeting, and oh, you have a dog and you have kids. Are you sure you want white? And oh no, we don't really want white. So kind of keeping in mind the idea of how realistic it is, the things that you're visualizing, how realistic it is in terms of your home. We're going to give some more examples about that in a minute, but and then remembering, and we talked about this earlier, but remembering that most images are curated or staged. So some of the pins that I put online, I don't have a professional photographer photographing my things, but I just do it from my phone. They're not great, but a lot of them are. If they are, a lot of them are taking professional images, and they are curated, they are staged. It looks like a magazine shoot. So keep that in mind too. How realistic is it? Okay, so how do we use Pinterest as a tool? It's possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a room specific board. So for this example, I'm going to be working on a home office, okay? And so you want to create a board with the title of the room of the space that you're working on. So you don't want it to be completely generic. You want to title it home office. Okay, so if you have not used Pinterest before, and you're wondering what in the world am I talking about, quick history lesson on Pinterest. Pinterest, the way that you organize your information on Pinterest is you create boards, and boards are very much like file folders. So that everything I pin, which means save, everything I pin, I can put it in whatever file or board that I want it to. So I can have as many boards as I want. I can have as few boards as I want. Naming them specifically when you're working on a home project is really key. And then you can share that board with any collaborators you're working with. So if you are working with a designer, if you're working with a contractor, if you're working with just someone who's going to help you manage that room, like a sister or your husband, share it. You can share it. You can invite them to be part of it, and they can add things to it as well. Or you can just leave it out in the netherworlds of Pinterest land and let anyone find it, or you can keep it secret. So if you were to look on my account, what you would see is several things that are I don't know, room specific, product specific, all of that. What you wouldn't see are things like birthday party ideas or cute outfit ideas or recipes I want to try. Those I keep secret because mine is a business account. And so I want my businessy things to be front and center for all of you and my personal things to be personal for me. But on the back end, you can see it all. And then, okay, so you've created your board, we're labeling it, in this case, home office, we're sharing it or we're keeping it secret. And then you're setting a time limit. And this is really important because we don't want Pinterest to become a rabbit hole. So if you set it for this specific step, if you do 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops, that's good. Don't go beyond 30 minutes, even if you don't finish the homework, which is located below. But what you're going to do is you're going to search images in the Pinterest search bar with the broad term home office. You might also use office. You might use office decorations or something like that, but use a broad general term. The name of the room, white living rooms, white kitchens, whatever, but a broad term, not too specific. And then you're going to pin or save no more than 30 images, okay? Because pretty soon all of those images are going to start blending together. You don't want that, it's too much. And you're going to have more homework after those images. So we're not going to just stop here with pinning them. We're going to get into the details of those pins in order to define your aesthetic. Okay, but here's another really key piece. So you have pinned them, and in the pin, there is room for a description. And generally, the first description, so like when I am creating a pin, I'm putting the picture on there, and then as the creator, I am putting the link to my website, I'm putting the link to the product if it's for sale, I'm putting a description of all of the things that like search SEO, so keywords that I want that pin to be able to be found by. And that can be modifiable. So for you guys, you are not necessarily beholden to keeping that original description. Your job is to erase it all, maybe not the link, erase it all, and write down any specific things that you like within that picture. Now, remembering that you're looking for a room specific, it's a really broad category. And so you might have lots of elements within that room that you like. Paying attention to those details are really important. So I have a couple examples. Here's one. And so I'm looking for home office. And that was my search term was home office. And I spent maybe 3 minutes looking at these. So I pinned it, and in my description, these are the things I like. So I like that the shelving units are moody blue, but maybe not that color of blue. I like the brass light fixtures. I like that the storage is open shelving, but then there's some closed cupboard space. I don't like how they styled the shelves. That is a big pet peeve of mine when you have a bookshelf and I don't see hardly any books. I like the large art that is kind of centerpiece on that back landscape. I don't care for that area rug. It's fine. It's not my favorite. I don't like the desk. And I don't even like the word hate, but I hate that desk. I don't think that is the right desk for that space. So very strong reaction to some of the stuff in this room. That's just an example. We're going to do a couple more. So this one, I like the blue bookshelves. In fact, I really, really like this color. It's kind of a moody, but a deeper blue. I like the style of the shelving. It's open. I didn't write this down, but I do like how they styled it. I can see a little bit more books on here. It's a good thing. I love the cream chair, and I didn't put this down here too, but I love that faux fur rug is probably what it is. I like the curtains and I like the wall color. Love the herringbone wood floor. That is gorgeous. Not a fan of the desk. Don't like the rug, and the plant on the table looks really weird to me. So like I'm being super specific, and I could keep going on, but I want to get through this for you guys. Here's another one. So loving the black walls and the ceiling. I love that brass light fixture on the ceiling, but I don't like, I love the brass of it, but I don't really like the shape of the fixture, the light. I love that wood and cane credenza at the end. Love the blue velvet couch. I love those legs. I love the sleekness. I love that color. I like the open shelving. I mean, that kind of got missed a little bit and I found it at the end. Love that, the open shelving, again, open shelving and then some enclosed spaces. Big art, huge fan. I love the coffee table. I like the color of it. I like the texture of it. I like the style of it. I like the plant that's popping right out at us. I don't know if I like that table lamp. I'm kind of drawing, I like the Empire shade look, but that is a little bit too Empire shade for me. There are some that don't have as steep of a triangle there. And I really like that area rug. So those are an example of how specific I was, and I could keep going. Like, I think I really like that chair here. I think the style is really cute, but I'm not entirely sure it would be super cozy, but it looks really cute. Okay, you've done all that. You've done your 30 pins. You've done no more than that. You've spent 30 minutes. You've taken a lot of information in, and now you need to take a break. And you're thinking, but I'm on a roll. Why on earth would I do that? Let me tell you why. Because those pictures can blur together really, really quickly. And remembering that we are using Pinterest in this case as a tool, we are not using it as a time filler, a rabbit hole, a time sucker. We are not doing that. Right now, we are a student of style. So we are going to respect that role. And I want you to take a break for a day or two. Really. I did not while I was doing this today. Okay, once you've taken a break, you're back at it, and now we're going to investigate all those pins. So what do you need? You need of course, your computer. I didn't put that down here, but you need your computer and open it to Pinterest. You need a notepad, a pen, and a very, very discerning eye. And if you want to do this with a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, no judgment. Okay, so you're going to open up the Pinterest board that was specific to the home office. Don't get sidetracked. You are going to go through every single pin and you're going to look at the pictures again and you're going to reread the comments to see if those descriptions align. So you could see, even as I was going back through it with you, like what I put down originally was fine, but then I noticed some more stuff and I would include that in those comments. I might, like, some of my opinions were a little bit stronger, like I said, oh, I like that blue velvet couch, but when I was looking at it, telling you guys, I loved that blue velvet couch. I loved the style, I loved the legs, I loved the color. So you can see how even going back after not having seen it for a little bit, there was more opinion. And that opinion is what I want you to pay attention to and what I want you to write down. So you're looking at one image at a time and you're taking notice of the elements in that picture. Okay, and the descriptions that you liked, and then of course the ones that you didn't like, you're paying attention to that too. But then you're going to cross-reference those one pin and the description with the other pins that you have in that same board. And I made an error here and I said cross-reference those items with the images from your other board, and I don't mean that, your other pins is what I mean. I'll change that. So you're cross-referencing it with all of those pictures, all of those pins within your board home office. And then you're going to start noticing the similarities. And as you notice the similarities, we're not just going to notice it and put it in the back of our brain. We are going to do some action with those. So on your notepad, you are going to designate lists or boxes or however you like to do it with the elements within the room. And you are going to fill those lists or boxes with the visual elements that are repeating themselves throughout your pins. Okay, so we're using my 3. This is what we did. So for example, in my 3 pins, and there were more, but one of the things that repeated itself within the pins were the bookshelves. Those stuck out to me. I liked them in every single pin. It was enough that it grabbed my attention in the first place for me to pin it and then to take note of it. And I liked all of them. And this is what I liked about it. I liked the dark color. I liked the open shelving. I liked the enclosed cupboards at the bottom. And I loved the large art in the center of the bookshelf. So that's what I liked about bookshelves. If I spent more time, I could probably find some more. I went back and looked, and they didn't all have brass fixtures, but I sure liked the brass fixtures on one of them that I saw. Then we're looking at the lighting. I liked the lighting that caught my attention, and the one that repeated itself in each of those pins were brass accents. I liked a big statement overhead light. And I really like the fixed lighting on the shelving. Now, these didn't all repeat themselves within them, but I liked them enough that I know that if they were in those other rooms, I would like them. The area rugs, how did they repeat themselves or not? I found myself gravitating toward the larger statement rug. I didn't really like the small size of the cowhide. I really like the black and white striped, which makes me think that maybe I would like patterned rug versus solid. And then you're going to continue doing this. So some of the other elements within the room, these are just examples, and I would probably have more, but then you might look at the desks, you might look at the chairs, you might look at the table lamps, you might look at the hardware. And you would do this for all of the elements within that room. And let's say your desk list is really deficient. That's when you can go back to Pinterest and you can kind of repeat that process so that you can identify the desks that you like. Okay. And then you're taking another break because that was a lot of work, and it's more work than the first part of the process. So, because what you're doing is you are taking a fine-tooth comb and you're looking and breaking down every single pin, every single picture to try to notice what it is you like and the similarities between those. And that's going to be time consuming. And you might even want to do this over a couple days. Okay, now you're heading back to Pinterest. And when you're heading back to Pinterest, you are going to be searching item-specific products. So you're creating new boards for each specific item within that room and labeling them accordingly. So why would I do that instead of put them underneath the home office board? For me, I would probably I could keep it separated within my mind and within the visual space on Pinterest. I could keep them all in one board. This might be a tool that is useful for you to separate them out. And then, once you're done with that room, you can always delete that board and not clutter up your Pinterest account. But it can be a way to just kind of keep organizing it a little bit more. And maybe you want it all together. So you choose what's best for you. Okay, so in this case, I'm creating a board that is specific to light fixtures. That's what that means. Okay, so again, I'm going to share it with any collaborators I have. Maybe my sister's helping me with this project. Awesome, I'm going to share it with her. Or I'm going to keep it secret because I don't want the world to know. Doesn't matter. I'm going to set a time limit, and lower is better on this one. So 10, 20 minutes or so. And this time you are searching for images of the space using specific descriptive terms that you identified in the previous steps. So you might search brass overhead lights, dark blue office bookshelves, brass lighting for the living room, patterned rugs with pink for the living room, for example. Be as specific as you can. And that is where you're going to find, we hope you're not going down the rabbit hole. We hope you're going to find whatever it is you're specifically looking for, in this case, light fixtures. And then this time you are pinning no more than 15 images per that specific board. Okay, no more than 15, because you can look at light fixtures all day, but if you have more than 15 is a high number too, but if you have more numbers, you're either going to like them or you're not. So keep that number lower. And then you're going to rewrite the descriptions, just like you did in the first step, to include the specific comments of what catches your attention on that specific item. So in this case, light fixtures, what you like as well as what you don't like. Okay, and then this is the trick. Understanding the limitations. This is where we get some hiccups. This is where my client that I mentioned earlier didn't really understand her limitations. what ended up happening with that was that she decided, she decided, you know what, brown isn't so bad. No, I don't want white carpet. My kids, I let them eat in the living room. So she kind of changed her entire tune, and we had to go back to the Pinterest board to examine what it was she was looking for. And that was fine. I'm glad we did it before we started, painting walls and things. But she was able to understand those limitations with my guidance, but she was able to understand that. Okay, so why would you want to? Because you want to know the realities of what your home is and how they might align or misalign with the elements that you're drawn to. Another example might be, let's say you're drawn to pictures that have all of these, you're doing a living room, we'll say, and you have all of these open, bright, airy windows, and they are floor to ceiling, and they have like 9 paned windows, and it's just gorgeous, and it's light and airy, and you can just see it, the light coming in, and it's gorgeous. But then you look at your living room and you have like one 20 by 20 window. That would be a limitation. And unless you are planning on chopping holes in the house, that would be a limitation that would keep you from getting the elements within that room that you really, really like. So that means you would probably have to go back to the drawing board, start that process again, and until you can kind of fine tune it. Now, this is probably, you might not get this on the first try. It might be something that you do all these things and then you do something like that where you realize, oh, I really love brick veneer, like city loft style places, but oh, I live in the suburbs and there's no brick to be found anywhere. You might realize that, and it just might be something that you have to practice a couple times. Okay, so some of the things you can do to find out if you're within those limitations, or if there are limitations, are asking these questions. Am I drawn to elements within the room that are attainable, like the floor to ceiling windows, like the brick wall? Are they architectural details? If they are, is it attainable? Are you planning on hiring a handyman? Does hubby know that that is his weekend project? Are you knocking down walls? Things like that are what is the architectural detail, and is that something that you need to remove and have a reality check on? Are the changes that you want to make, are they manageable on your own, or do you need to convince hubby or hire out? Or beg, borrow, and steal with some pizza and beer, say, hey buddies, come on over. And are they within your budget? Some other questions: can I achieve the look of the room with the specific elements I like in the room that I have? So kind of going back to that brown room example, that brown room that she had, but she loved, loved, loved the white. Can I achieve a calm, cozy look with white in a brown room? Totally. Yep, absolutely you can. That's not what we did, but you can. Or can I, let's say she liked brass in that example. I've got this brown room. I really like white. I really like brass, but you know what? White, we're checking out the white, and now I have brown, but I really like brass. Will brass look good with the brown? Probably not. So asking yourself that question. And then what changes need to be made to the room in order to pull the room together? So kind of starting that process of like, do I need to paint? Do I need to get new flooring? Do I need to remove pieces of furniture? Do I need to get new furniture? That kind of thing. This is a side note. I'm composing a class that is a little bit more in depth than this. It's Design 101, and we go into that before we ever get to the planning phase, but it's really understanding the purpose of your room and really honing in on that before we ever reach Pinterest. So making a plan is super important because for many reasons, but one is it will save you money, it will save you time, and it will really help you to make sure that your plan and the aesthetic that you have is in alignment with the purpose of your room. So lots of good reasons why you should make a plan, why you should use Pinterest as a tool instead of just going out and buying the things that you see on Pinterest after identifying the one thing that you like. Anyway, that is how to use Pinterest as a tool. Next week, we're going to continue this conversation with making a plan, because Pinterest is just the start, and maybe thinking about what you want to do beyond that. Where do you want to go with that plan beyond that? How do we take it from this, the idea stage, the pretty things, to now bringing it into reality? So it's attainable. All right, you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you next week.